Hey, what's going on? It's your boy Dalton from the Petrolist, and we've got a few weeks until the next race, but that doesn't mean that we have any shortages of drama. So, unless you've been living under a rock, you will know that Daniel Ricciardo is no longer in Formula One. And here's something that's very significant about Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel, in terms of Formula One, was more than just 8 race wins. I think that, you know, the teams that are at the top right now, McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, they're all kind of making the same mistake. They're not recognizing the fact that what they're doing, it's all for human beings. If people aren't attached to the sport, they're not going to watch the sport. You can drive around on, racetracks all you want, but if you don't engage the community, if you don't engage the people, if you don't make it interesting, if you don't make it a cool story, then people are just going to be like, great, hunks of metal just flying around in circles. And to a greater or lesser extent, I think that's what's going on in the car industry as well. They're like, well, if we make the car faster from 0 to 60, then people will love it. And guess what? They tried that out with the Plaid. They tried it out with all these modern supercars. And guess what? People are still buying Mazda Miatas. They're still buying these old Ferraris that were 0 to 60 in like 8 seconds. Why? Because they have character. And that's something that Daniel Ricciardo has in droves. So Daniel Ricciardo, 8 race wins, Honey Badger, don't give a F, all that stuff. The famous shoey, which is something that I don't think I would ever do. Cheers to the people that would. But I mean, he brought Formula One out of this stuffy old man, unapproachable. If you don't drive a Ferrari or a BMW already, just don't be interested. He brought it out of that phase and brought it into something that everybody could be excited about. And I think to a greater or lesser extent, Lewis Hamilton kind of played that same role. He took Formula One out of this elitist mindset, and grant you, none of them are doing poorly. They're all fairly wealthy. But they brought some personality to the sport that I think was missing. Now, people can say, Lewis Hamilton with his fashion stuff and all that, he's kind of like slipping back into elitist mode. And, granted, he grew up poor, or at least poor compared to his teammate in 2016, Nico Rosberg. But there's something to be said about Formula One drivers who want to relate to the rest of the world, quite frankly. And I think that Red Bull's greatest mistake was discounting how much fans absolutely love Daniel Ricciardo. Now, you could say that Perez has been driving crappy, and somehow Red Bull found it in the goodness of their heart to let Perez stay on. And when you look back at Daniel Ricciardo's driving history over the season, he honestly wasn't doing that bad. I mean, the V-Carb cars were kind of atrocious. And the fact that he could do what he did with those cars, despite Lance Stroll rear-ending him, despite him breaking his hand, despite, this thing and that thing, I just don't see why he didn't deserve to at least finish out the season. I think he probably kind of knew that at the end of 2024, that his seat was going to be gone. But to let him go mid-season as if he was Nick DeVries, and yeah, I feel bad for Nick DeVries, but Nick DeVries was no Daniel Ricciardo as far as his impact on the sport. So I think that some of the team leaders, and again, this goes into general car manufacturing and stuff, I think that what they've gotten wrong is just failing to relate to human beings. Are manual transmissions as fast as, the modern dual clutch or the modern 10-speed transmission? No. Is traction control going to get you around a track faster than, just using your right foot as traction control? Probably. But at the end of the day, we're human beings. We're spiritual creatures. We have feelings, we have emotions, and that's honestly what drives a lot of what we do. It drives a lot of what we like. And I think sometimes when you just get too focused in on the numbers and the crunching of, whatever it is. And I think Sergio Perez, he brought more numbers, not in terms of race pace, but in terms of sponsorships. And they're like, well, if Sergio Perez brings in $30 million a year and Daniel Ricciardo brings in $2 million a year, well, guess what? We're going to go with Sergio Perez, even if he's not, driving that great. Here's the thing. If you cut Daniel Ricciardo and you lose $50 million and, fans clicking on your crap and buying your crap and being excited about your team, well, you just lost money, didn't you? And I think that Mercedes is kind of making the same mistake. I think they're not recognizing just how much impact Lewis Hamilton had on the sport. And I think that McLaren would be in the same spot that Mercedes and Red Bull are in right now if Lando Norris was a more likable character. If Lando Norris was a likable character and they let Piastri interfere with Lando Norris's ability to win the Drivers' Championship, I think there'd be outrage. But I think that right now people, they still don't exactly know how to feel about the guy. I think a lot of people, myself included, are still on the fence on whether, if they're a McLaren fan, am I going to root for Piastri or am I going to root for Norris? I don't know. And I think that is saving their bacon, because McLaren is another team that isn't really doing a good job of figuring out what people care for, what people care about. Jim Farley, CEO of Ford, said that Ford is going to make a Mustang with a V8 engine and a manual transmission till they bloody outlaw the things. That's smart. Honda is putting a manual transmission in their new Prelude. GM has said that Corvette is always going to be a Chevy. Slowly but surely, companies are waking up and they're finding out that you got to make products that people actually want to buy, that people want to engage with, lest you go out of business. The video game industry, they're finding that out. They're making games that nobody wants to play. They're ignoring their target demographic. If the people who use your product no longer like you, you're going to have a financial problem. And that is what I think some of the Formula One teams are going to have to start considering moving forward. I think 2025 is going to be a clean slate. I mean, the contracts are already in place. Sainz is going to Williams. Hamilton is going to Ferrari. Ricciardo is just going away altogether. We've got Bierman. We've got Lawson. And, mind you, Lawson, that's not even for 2025. That's just for the next 6 races. Okay, so who am I going for in 2025? My teams are going to be Williams, because you got James Vowles. Is he nice? I don't know. I don't think he's nice. Is he straightforward? Does he gaslight you? Does he tell you what he feels? He said he didn't think that Franco Colapinto was anything special. And then Franco Colapinto comes out and proves that he is actually special. And guess what? James Vowles didn't come out and crap all over Franco Colapinto's success. I don't know if he congratulated the guy, but he didn't come out and crap all over it. And he let him race. That's cool. So you got James Vowles, who has my respect a little bit, at least. We got Franco Colapinto, and we've got Carlos Sainz, which, as you guys know, if you've watched any of my videos, is one of my favorite drivers. So why wouldn't I be a Williams fan in 2025? We've got Ferrari with Fred Vasseur, who's he wants the best for Hamilton. He wants the best for Leclerc. He wants the best for Ferrari. So Williams, Ferrari, those are my teams in 2025. Red Bull, who knows what the heck is going on over there. McLaren, I won't be I won't be sad if they lose races. I don't necessarily think I'll be super excited if they win races. You got VCarb, you got Alpine. I like Pierre Gasly. You got Aston Martin, and as much as they build their team, I'm not sure how much respect I can have for a team that is really just. I mean, come on. Does Stroll really belong in Formula One, or is that nepotism? Man, I am never gonna get any interviews with Formula One because I'm too blunt. But anyway, Williams and Ferrari, Mercedes, they can go fly a kite in 2025 for all I care. When Lewis Hamilton leaves, there's just no way. I'm not a Mercedes. I'm barely a Mercedes fan right now, so that'll be gone in 2025. That's my rant. Ranted for 14 minutes. But that's it. That's what you do when you have a Formula One channel and no Formula One races. You just rant. I hope everything wasn't negative. I hope that there were some positive things. But yeah, that's what I got. Williams and Ferrari in 2025. And please, for the love of revenue, guys, pay attention to what your fans want. Companies used to. Companies built brand loyalty that way. Pay attention to what your fans want, and you will be successful or something. All right. I have been Dalton. You have been great. This has been the Petrol List. Pretty sure I did that out of order, but you get the point. I'm out.